Ready for a deep dive into meditation. We're talking about making it a regular thing, and we've got some really interesting teachings to help us out. We're blending ancient wisdom with modern techniques. It's gonna be cool.
It's funny how people think of meditation as this big, complicated practice.
Right, like you need to be some kind of Zen master.
Exactly. But the sources we're looking at today suggest it might be way simpler than we make it out to be.
I like the sound of that. So where do we even begin with simplifying meditation?
Well, a good place to start is with building sustainable habits. And this is where this whole old cows versus young cows thing comes in.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Old cows. Tell me more.
So there's this teaching from Mir Rinpoche where he talks about how an old cow pees.
Okay, I did not see that coming.
It's more profound than it sounds, I promise. He says an old cow, she pees a little bit at a time, consistently, over a long period. He contrasts that with a young cow who just lets out this big burst all at once, and then it's over.
So I'm guessing the old cow is our meditation role model here.
You got it. It's about consistency over intensity, just like that old cow steadily grazing. Instead of aiming for hour-long meditation sessions right off the bat, what if you started with just 5 minutes every morning?
Yeah, 5 minutes feels a lot more approachable than trying to clear my schedule for an hour of Zen.
Right. Small, regular practice over time, that's what leads to lasting change. And it plays into this other misconception about meditation, that it's about emptying your mind.
Oh, I've definitely heard that one.
The sources we're looking at today suggest it's not about emptying the mind at all.
Really? So if it's not about emptying my mind, what am I actually supposed to be doing?
It's about shifting to a different type of awareness, what they call meditative awareness.
Meditative awareness. Okay, I'm intrigued. How is that different from, say, my everyday awareness?
Good question. Think about how your mind usually operates. It's like you're constantly caught in traffic, right? Focused on getting to your destination, worrying about being late, maybe even feeling frustrated with other drivers. That's your mind in its normal, externally focused state.
Oh, my mind is definitely in that traffic jam mode more often than I'd like to admit.
But meditative awareness, it offers a different perspective. It's like you're suddenly aware that you're feeling frustrated in that traffic jam.
So instead of being swept away by the frustration, I'm noticing it.
Exactly. You're not the frustration itself, you're observing it. That noticing, that stepping back, is a glimpse of meditative awareness.
So instead of trying to force an empty mind, I'm just observing what's already there.
Yes. You're simply noticing the thoughts and sensations, letting them come and go without getting swept away. And that act of observation, that's the meditation itself.
See, that feels a lot more doable than trying to silence my brain completely. It's less about forcing and more about noticing.
And here's where it gets even more interesting. Even when you try to be present, thoughts will still pop up. It's like trying to calm a stormy sea. Waves will inevitably come and go.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do we ride those waves of thought without getting pulled under?
That's where the idea of impermanence comes in, that understanding that everything, including our thoughts and feelings, is constantly changing.
So, like, even when it feels chaotic, that's okay. It's just part of the process.
Exactly. It's all about embracing the ebb and flow, just like that old cow. Mir Rinpoche, he really emphasizes not getting discouraged by a fluctuating mind during meditation.
Because it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like that stormy sea analogy. Some days your meditation will be calm and focused, other days it's gonna feel like a whirlwind.
That makes me feel so much better because sometimes I think, am I doing this wrong? My mind won't shut up.
It's not about being wrong or right, it's just your mind being a mind. And, this whole impermanence thing.
Everything changes.
Yeah, it's not just a meditation thing, it's a life thing.
Totally. Life is full of ups and downs, highs and lows, you name it.
And accepting the impermanence of it all, that's where we find freedom, I think, like you were saying before. It's about riding those waves instead of getting pulled under by every current.
Okay, I'm really liking this whole riding the waves metaphor.
And it actually connects to another concept that came up, that analogy of water and sand, remember?
Oh, yeah. Our mind is the water, and then life throws sand in it, and things get murky.
Exactly. And our natural instinct is to grab at those particles of sand, try to control them, make sense of them, make them go away.
Right, like, why am I thinking about this? Go away, thought.
But meditation, especially when we bring in that meditative awareness we were talking about, it offers a different approach.
So instead of chasing after every thought, I'm more like letting the sand settle on its own.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that you are not the thoughts themselves, you're the awareness that's just observing them.
Huh. That's a really different way of thinking about it.
And as you practice this, you start to create space between you and those thoughts, and that's where that clarity starts to emerge.
It sounds so peaceful, not feeling like I need to engage with every single thought that pops up. So how does this letting the sand settle actually work in practice? What am I supposed to be doing?
It's about shifting from doing to being. Instead of forcing your mind to be quiet, you're simply allowing your thoughts to come and go, like those waves on the stormy sea.
Okay, so I'm not trying to make the thoughts go away. I'm just letting them be.
Yes. And eventually, they settle back into stillness, just like that sand.
So it's not about making the thoughts disappear. It's more about like changing how we relate to them.
Yeah, exactly. And, as you practice this letting go, you might actually find that your mind, it naturally starts to calm down on its own.
So it's like those sand particles, they just settle to the bottom and the water becomes clearer.
Exactly. You don't have to force it.
I love that image.
Yeah.
It really highlights how maybe peace and clarity, they aren't about achieving some perfectly still mind, but it's more about changing how we see what's already happening inside.
I think that's a really great way to put it. It's like you're becoming friends with your own mind, with all its quirks and chaos and everything.
Yeah, totally.
And you're recognizing that within all that chaos, there's this deep well of awareness that's always there, just waiting to offer peace and clarity.
So to recap, today we've explored old cows peeing a little at a time, the idea that it's about awareness, not emptiness, and of course riding those waves of our experience.
And don't forget the water and the sand.
Right, how could I forget? It's amazing how these simple but powerful ideas can totally change how we think about meditation.
It really is. And you know what I find so fascinating? These insights, they don't just apply to meditation.
You think they apply to everyday life too?
Absolutely. Think about it. We're constantly facing those sand in the water moments all day long, right?
100%.
So the question is, if our minds are like that water, always able to go back to a state of clarity, what sand are we ready to let settle today?
That's such a good question to think about. It's been awesome diving into the world of meditation with you today.
It's been a pleasure being here.
And to everyone listening, we hope this has been helpful for you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep practicing, and keep those old cows in mind.